3 years ago, I shouldn't have made it. They told my family to prepare for goodbye. June 9th, 2022, I was almost 18. We were driving up Angeles Crest, chasing stars and freedom. In seconds, the world shattered. My bones broke, my body broke, my life broke. I don't remember the impact, but I remember the silence. I remember waking up in a body that didn't feel like mine, tubes down my throat, strangers saying my name, and the terrifying thought, is this it? Did I die? I lost time, I lost hair, I lost pieces of myself I'm still trying to find. Today, I'm flying back over the place I almost died, not to relive the crash, but to remember the girl who crawled her way out of it. This is where everything stopped, and somehow, where everything began. Today is June 9th, 2025, and it's a very special day for me because it marks the 3-year anniversary of my car accident. To mark the anniversary this year, I decided that I wanted to fly over Crest and go to the exact coordinates where they found the car and me. And I chose to do it in a helicopter because it symbolizes a lot for me. Not only do I feel like I've grown as a person after the accident, but I feel like today going and physically being above the car and above the mountain where they pulled me out of is a testament to how hard I've worked to be where I'm at in my life and all of the work that I still have left to do. A big step in this journey is beginning to share all of the things that make me who I am and help me survive, and not just live but thrive, which is something I've really been working on this year. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm very excited to share this moment with my mom, but I'm also very, very nervous and scared. The last time I was in a helicopter, I was not conscious. I was fighting for my life. And to be honest, my mind doesn't really remember it. I know that my body does. I know that the PTSD is etched into the bones of my body, and I carry that with me. So I'm very excited, but I'm also very nervous. It's very bittersweet. And I don't know what today is gonna bring. Maybe closure, maybe not, we'll see. But I'm excited and I feel very grateful that I get to experience this today. And I get to do it with my mom.
Watch your feet and watch your head as well. This is a little bit tricky. Seat belt, so I'm going to help you. Go ahead. Let me know this is enough. It's a beautiful photo. Excellent. Go ahead and Liz, have a seat belt on. Doors closing.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes. Hello? Hello. I can hear you. Okay, I can hear you. Hear me? Like clearly? Okay.
No.
Sick. Ready?
We are on the go.
Yay.
Are you ready?
2-2 Victory,
Yes.
check in, straight northbound on the Bravo side. Hayk, they're going to be going to the northwest corner. I'll make sure they give way to you at Delta.
Oh my god! Can you believe a helicopter off a pad like this?
Wow.
Oh my god.
This is amazing. It's crazy.
We're so high up.
I love it. much more enjoyable today.
Yes, we're not flying out of anywhere. Oh, that was good.
How do you feel being up here, Mom?
I mean, I can count on you to give me the experiences of a lifetime.
661, I can see some rampers confirm they're ready for you.
It's another surreal experience. What do you think? It's beautiful up here. What else is left, Elizabeth, after this experience?
We gotta pull the car out. Been a crazy ride.
Tell me about it. But we're still here. And the fact that I think we're facing the fear, the memories going back, I really think it should be more of a therapeutic experience. That's after we survive. Right?
I think, I don't know what it's gonna bring out when we're there, but my hope for today is to get some sort of closure. I think going back is scary, but living with fear is scarier.
I think, I believe in experiences shape us. Once we survive them, I think we become maybe a little different. I don't think I'm regretful of some of the challenges that we faced or some of the trauma. I look at you now and you're stronger, wiser than ever. So I'm sorry you had to go through all that, but sometimes going through it and surviving is what makes you like a stronger, wiser person in the room. My heart is racing.
Really?
5 copy.
It really is.
Is it anything like it was that night?
No, not at all. I think what I experienced that night is I think my heart maybe stopped at like certain segments of the night. I'm more alert now. I'm in tune with my emotions. So I'm anticipating that night. I had no thoughts of number one, survival, and what was I like facing what was to come. I don't have words to describe the feeling.
Did you know we were at Crest?
No. I actually thought some of the route, like heading home, which were the freeways, maybe you tumbled down on the side road. In my wildest dreams, I had no idea. When I heard we're falling off the cliff word I heard clearly, but I thought you guys are rolling down the side of the road. And the first time I saw your location, I was in the car trying to get out of the parking lot. I froze. My heart literally stopped. And everything that I heard on the phone now made sense. I don't remember, like, I remember not breathing. But in my mind, I was like, I have to make this call. So I think I probably made the second smartest call that night after Dad's call was I called 911 and I was screaming, my child is off the cliff. I need helicopters. I need units, not one. So of course they had to ask me a bunch of questions. I don't remember. All I remember is yelling and saying, I'm gonna get on this freeway now and drive really fast and I hope I make it there. I hope you guys get there before me and I need support, air support. I remember vividly someone telling me, one of the dispatch ladies saying that, I think your husband called already. I said no. I know he called, but I don't think it's air service and support that we're getting. I'm telling you, I was on the call with the kid. We need air support right now. And that's all I was yelling for a couple of minutes. I think it was on repeat in my head. And right after that, I don't remember how I got on the freeway. I don't remember how I was driving, but I remember exiting and making a left and driving really fast to get to your location. I remember bits and pieces of things I did because I think the rest I was in shock. My brain just wasn't processing. The voice, the yells, the scream I heard earlier is all that was being repeated in my ear, inside my brain. That's all I heard. I don't even think I heard the officer's dad, anyone talking to me, until I saw you physically shattered, being sent to the ambulance. Until then, I was just hearing your voice. I was hearing all the kids in the car screaming. And I think I got stuck there for a while. In that moment where you guys were literally going down the cliff, I think I was there for a good 2 hours. And maybe that helped me survive the real situation I was in because you guys were missing for a while. I could almost see people walking, sirens, ambulance, helicopter kept coming up and down. The wind was crazy. Officers would like come towards me and I would just run to the car and lock the doors so they couldn't move me away. My car was right on the cliff side. It was the only car they allowed all the way there because they chased me. But
we're a mile away to the crest.
Oh my God.
Do you think you're ready to go back?
I don't know, sweetheart. I think we have to unlock the truth about surviving this. Like, we all have our ways of like coping. I'm proud of you. I think you're a strong person, but sometimes it's not about being strong. I told you this. It's about facing our fears, vulnerabilities. Something I have not been successful teaching your brother. But I think it's beautiful when you're able to get those emotions in line with the proper trauma, right? So it's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. This isn't about being strong. You have already survived it.
Wow. The road.
Oh my goodness.
This is a road. Angeles Crest.
Oh my goodness. Horrible. How do you feel, sweetheart? Here.
I'm in shock.
Do you remember any feeling from that night?
No. Every time I think of that, I think of one moment. I remember having the phone in my... I remember the rail. I kept saying, we're gonna crash, and then we hit that rail. It just goes blank. I don't remember flipping. I don't remember falling. I read you my writing once. about that. And
Do you think that helped you because you had a couple of concussions, brain bleed? You were in bad shape when...
I don't know why I don't remember. In my writing, I realized I wrote, I don't remember the kid I used to be. That same kid that was in that car, where I must have hit my head. I remember being cold, and it was a cold night, but I was cold because I was wet.
You were bleeding out for a while.
Everywhere. There was blood everywhere. And I don't know if I don't remember because I was injured, shattered, or if it's a defense mechanism.
I think you were in shock probably, but I also think you were shattered. Human level, your heart stopped twice throughout the journey. One down the cliff, they didn't feel a pulse. That's why the driver was sent up first, because they didn't think to survive. But then the people in the car were rooting for you and saying, you need to take her up. Second time they went down, they kind of forced you to be the second one. And I think there was a struggle. I don't know exactly what happened down there. It was dark. It took a while for your rescue to occur. But as soon as you came up, you were shattered. And I knew as a mom, I knew that you are not okay at all. You're like fighting for your life. So I want to understand, I don't know if it's a fair question, but do you kind of blame yourself for the situation, for being where you were?
No, for a long time I think it was so confusing, so scary. And there was so much pain that I was lost in it. I couldn't imagine a world which I would survive. I was so overwhelmed with pain and guilt. And I felt responsible. I did for a long time. And
even being a passenger, you felt responsible?
In the moment, and for the few months after, I did. And, you know, maturing and growing up and turning into the woman that I'm becoming, I realized it could have never been my responsibility.
Of course not.
I was not the one sitting at the wheel. I didn't have control of the car. And, you know, we'll get into it later why I named the podcast The Seventh Candle, but I don't hold anger and hate towards the people in the car. I'm not angry with the world and with God the way I used to. But a big part of letting go of the anger was letting go of the guilt and understand that I am not responsible. I was not responsible for what happened that night, and that didn't mean that I didn't have to live with it. That didn't mean that I didn't have to recover. I had to put all the work in, and I had to learn how to walk again. I had to survive. It didn't matter whose fault it was. It was my life, and I had to live.
Did you think you were going to die? Did you ever get that feeling? Or what was going through your mind? Sure, like it was split second here and there.
In the moment, I was hopeful. The sound of these propellers gave hope. Hearing Dad's voice on the phone gave hope. When they couldn't find us, I was in so much pain. I started remembering that I was conscious and that I felt the pain. Months later when I was writing. And I think when I look back on the memory, I remember seeing Grandpa. I remember feeling warm. I think that's when my heart had stopped. Because of the amount of pain and blood I had lost. I blocked that out of my memory for so many months. But I think... You remember the night I read it to you? We were sitting by the fireplace. I sobbed. It was a very, very difficult thing to remember. I think at that moment I lost hope. I think I lost life and I lost hope. And I remember telling Grandpa I didn't want to come back. You know, I remember telling him that I was in too much pain and that you and Dad would be fine. You had Cebu. I think I told Dad that on the phone when I was talking to him. He kept saying, hold on, baby, you have to hold on, Ellie, you have to hold on. But I think in that moment, my body was so overtaken by pain. It wasn't a choice to hope or not. I think my body just stopped. And being back in the helicopter, like, my body is shaking. And I think no matter how prepared I think I am for certain things, PTSD is my and now it's my blood, it's in my bones. My body remembers things that my mind can. And every time I closed my eyes for 6 months, every night that I had that nightmare, it was right there on that road. We would just go through the rail and then blank. And every night I woke up screaming, crying. You remember, I had to go in the shower, put cold water, like snap myself out of it, be like, this is not happening right now. I can breathe, my body is okay, but I had to teach my body every single day that no, you're not going through this anymore. The PTSD attacks felt so real. They felt so real, and being above it right now, it's bittersweet.
Why did you decide to come back to this thing this way?
That's a tough question. A part of me thinks because I'm strong. Because
And Idaho 30 is going to be climbing the...
I'm above it all. Literally, mentally, figuratively. But I was thinking about that last night, like, why here? And I think it's because a part of me still has such a void. And I feel like feeling it externally is what I'm like wired to do on this day. I feel like I have to show myself physically, like, Elizabeth, you survived. I think there are days I don't believe it. there are days that, I mean, who falls off a cliff, breaks every bone in their body, and survives? Survives to tell the story.
Yeah.
Like, it just, sometimes I wake up and I look in the mirror and I see the scars. It's just a reminder, like, oh my god, I did that. I, like, look down right now. The car that they pulled me out of is somewhere down there.
I know. You know, I'm used to when things go bad to have you like right next to me saying, Mom, everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna go get through this, and then you're not there. I'm actually praying for you. I think in my life that was like the most vulnerable, broken time I've ever felt. I felt very tiny. I felt vulnerable. I felt tiny. I felt like an ant in the world that just, it was the worst feeling of my life. It was like being dead, but still being on this earth. I so needed you to say, like, I'm gonna be good, Mom. We're gonna be okay. But you weren't there. I hope she survives, because if she doesn't, I don't think I will. Like, I really had to think about that.
When I was in the hospital, there's a picture. I think I was still in the ICU, I was in a coma, but you're holding my hand. I always wondered, you've told me what Dad was saying when I was in surgery, but were you talking to me in your head? Were you talking to me? I don't remember.
Yes, I think the only thing I said was I wanted prayers. The power of prayers was just all I heard. I called Grandma and I said, I need you to call everyone you know in Armenia and LA. I want prayers all at the same time to go up. Maybe we'll be heard. Maybe. I know I asked for prayers, and the second thing the entire night was you were basically fighting not just for life, for your life, I think for us. That battle wasn't just about you, it was for me too, for my sanity. I was like, I'm sorry you have to carry the burden, but you gotta come through for both of us to survive this. Because there isn't a world, baby, that you can't be part of, and I see myself being part of. I know it's pretty intense, but those have been my, from the moment you've been born, it's almost like I'm so much stronger and empowered, and you're the light for me always. So I was just
TV9's parked northeast.
waiting to see if we were gonna survive the night. That's all. And it was all in God's hand, you know? God's will and God's hand. And I'm grateful for his prayers. I'm grateful for him granting us almost a second chance.
Well, I brought you here today because I wanted to say thank you. There's no person I'd rather share this with.
I love you, baby.
I love you more. But you know, there were a lot of times, not just in the car, but during recovery, that I lost hope. Recovery was unimaginable sometimes. But there's this thing on Instagram, people are like, my best friend clapped for me so hard I didn't notice who didn't. And I feel like that best describes our relationship. You had so much hope that it was enough when I lost hope. You were cheering so loud, like genuine. I never noticed it wasn't. And when we made that promise to go to Europe, if I ever walked again, I feel like that became the light for me, my journey. I remember going to physical therapy and being in pain, being tired, being sore. But I remember I used to always tell Mikey, my physical therapist, I would say, I have to walk one more step. I have to. Every time I was there, I was like, one more. And he was like, what is it with you and your stubbornness? Like, if your body is tired, rest. And I'm like, no. I have 6 months. I have 4 months. I have 3 months. I'm going to Europe with my mom. And we did. I think I would not have survived without you.
Neither would I. I'm just being honest.
I feel so blessed to not only have you in my life, but to have you that day and every day as my supporter, my mentor, but most importantly, my guiding light in the darkest moments. You've always been my light. And there were a lot of dark moments. A lot.
For both of us.
I'm glad we made it through.
It was team effort, baby John. You had to carry both of us in a lot of pain, uncertainty, and I appreciate you for that. You fought really hard to be here. Thank you. That takes courage. Dad and I knew it's the battle of your entire life, and you did it for all of us, baby John. Delta. You really did. Thank you. You know, accidents happen all the time. Trauma, but you really put up a fight.
What do you think is the most inspirational part of my journey?
Inspirational part of your experience? As someone can actually literally flatline and come back stronger and wiser than ever. And it gives me hope that there's always light on the other side. And not only that, that hope is the most beautiful thing, and we should thank God to that, right? As humans, I think we lose it sometimes because it's painful or we're in a really bad situation. I'm just so blessed that we were able to give each other that strength, right? Like that hope that we're gonna be okay one day. The most inspirational thing for me from this journey is the power of love, what we have for each other as a family, for each other as a child and a parent, and also the fact that we feed off of each other when it comes to hope. We don't always have to be strong, but at least knowing someone is hopeful for you, with you, gets you back on track.
Okay, 5 do it. Cessna's got you inside. Your discretion. You can turn them down now. Number 2, following helicopter low over the northwest corner, landing at the northwest. Havana is that a tug? Mission 886 on the east side. Turn left on Bravo. 4916 right short and taxi via Bravo. Hold short, taxi by Foxtrot.
Right before we took off, I was overwhelmed. I couldn't describe it with one feeling. I was very excited, but I was also very scared. I wasn't scared of flying as much as I was scared of my reaction to the sound of the helicopter, to being at Crest. I didn't know if I would see the car. I didn't know if I would remember the road. So I was feeling very, very overwhelmed. And then when we started flying, I was very nervous at first. There were some bumps from the wind and it kind of threw me off guard. But I think I found a lot of calmness and peace in my mom's voice. She was talking to me and telling me about her experience of my accident from her point of view. And I think that, for a moment I closed my eyes and I was just listening to her voice, and it really brought this sense of calmness over my body. And then when we got to Crest, at first I didn't realize we were there. I wasn't looking out the window, I was looking at my mom. And I was so into our conversation, it took me a second to turn around and be like, oh my God, this is where we are. And it felt like a very out-of-body experience. I knew going into this I wouldn't be able to see, or I wouldn't be able to foresee my feelings and my emotions. But, in the beginning I felt cold. I felt very detached from the memory. I kept kind of telling myself remember, think about that night, bring your emotions out. But in complete honesty, I was shocked. My body was in shock again. I couldn't cry. I couldn't even talk. I went mute for 10 minutes. I was just looking out the window. And I just kept picturing what would have happened if they couldn't find us. What would have happened if my phone flew out the window? What would have happened if I didn't get to talk to my dad? What would have happened if I didn't have service? A million things were going through my head, and I could hear my mom talking on the intercom. I could hear the other pilots talking through the intercom, but I wasn't understanding what they were saying. I think I very much kind of cocooned into my own shell. And that's been a big part of this recovery. It's very, very like a roller coaster. You can't anticipate what moments are going to hit you hard, what moments your body's going to detach, what moments you're just going to end up sobbing. I think 9 out of 10 times when it came to this accident, I feel like I've been taken off guard. And no amount of preparation, no amount of therapy, no amount of talking about it prepares you for certain things. Looking back, I feel so proud of how much work I've done the last 3 years and how far I've come, because 2-3 months after the accident had happened, I had to go back to the hospital with my mom for a checkup. And just from the sound of the construction workers hammering, I was so triggered. I fell on the floor, I cried, I had a panic attack, I couldn't breathe. And we had to go home. I didn't get to see the doctor. And that's the level of PTSD I was fighting. It was something bigger than myself. It was something bigger than what I had ever experienced. And so today, being able to sit in the helicopter and hear the propellers and hear the sound, but not shrivel up into a ball and not be a wreck on the floor crying, it's a testament to all of the work I've put in, all of the support I've had all these years. And I'm nowhere near the end of my journey, but I feel like this is such a big milestone, and it's such a good moment to look back on and feel proud, because to remember the worst day of your life, but to do it in a positive way, to remember an inhuman amount of pain that your body endured and go into shock, but take yourself out of it and reflect the way I am now. I think it's such a beautiful and important part of my journey to recovery and healing. And whether it be through talking to a camera, talking to the mirror, talking to my mom, taking a pen to paper, reflecting on everything I've been through and facing the hardest moments head on, just like we did today, has been such a pivotal part in recovering. And so this is only the beginning to my journey, and it's not always easy to talk about the things that I've been through, but I think that it's so important to give voice to these stories because the silence makes it worse than anything else. So I've, in my experience, learned when you face things head on and you have the privilege of having a support system, there's nothing more important and there's no better way to heal. So this is chapter 1 of this part of my life, and I'm so excited to share it with everyone who has supported me for the past 3 years. I have gone back and read every single message. I have done my best to reply to everybody that has messaged me because the power of community and the power of a support system is like no other. And so if I can be that voice to 1 or 2 people in this world that have gone through anything similar to what I went through, I know that 3 years ago I would have been grateful to it. So I feel privileged to be able to be that for anybody else. So why the 7th candle? I'll tell you eventually, but not today. Just know this. It was the one thing I asked for after the crash. And every year since, on June 9th, I light it. One flame for what I lost, for what I found, for what I'm still becoming. This podcast is my candle, a light in the dark. If you're listening, I hope something in this lit a match inside you. I'll be back soon, but for now I'm just going to keep flying and remembering.